Captain Hansol stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, watching the stars through the massive viewing screen. 300 years had passed since his ancestors fled the dying Earth. Now he commanded 50,000 souls aboard humanity's last hope. The ship stretched 15 kilometers from bow to stern. Its hull contained entire cities, farms, and forests. Children had been born, lived, and died within these metal walls without ever seeing a real sun. Hansol was one of them. "Captain, we have a problem," said Chief Engineer Mira as she approached his chair. Her face was pale and her hands shook slightly. In all his years serving with her, Hansol had never seen Mira afraid. "What is it?" he asked, turning away from the stars. Mira activated the holographic display between them. A three-dimensional map of nearby space appeared, showing their current position near the Alpha Centauri system. Red warning symbols flashed around Proxima Centauri. "Our long-range sensors detected unusual activity around Proxima," Mira explained. "The star is becoming unstable, very unstable." Navigator Dongwook joined them at the display. He had been monitoring stellar conditions for 20 years. His expression was grim. "Captain, according to my calculations, Proxima Centauri will explode in less than 3 weeks." Hansol felt his heart skip. "Explode? You mean like a supernova?" "Yes, sir. A complete stellar collapse followed by a massive explosion. The energy release will be enormous." The captain stared at the display. They had planned to establish a colony in the Alpha Centauri system. It was supposed to be their new home after centuries of wandering through space. Now their safe haven was about to become a death trap. "How long do we have before the explosion reaches us?" Hansol asked. Dongwook manipulated the display, showing projected blast patterns. "If we stay here, the radiation wave will hit us in approximately 4 weeks. Even at our maximum distance from Proxima, we cannot escape the lethal zone in time." "Using conventional engines?" Mira nodded grimly. "Our regular engines can only push us so fast. We need something more powerful." Hansol had feared this moment would come. Deep in the ship's most secure section lay their experimental quantum drive. It had never been tested on a ship this large. The technology was dangerous, possibly deadly, but now they had no choice. "Prepare the quantum drive," he ordered. Mira's eyes widened. "Captain, we have never used it on the full ship. The power requirements alone could overload our entire system. And if something goes wrong, we die," Hansol finished. "But if we do nothing, we die anyway. At least this way we have a chance." Dr. Yu Jin entered the bridge carrying a data pad filled with readings. As the ship's xenobiologist, she studied all forms of life they encountered in space. Her expertise had kept their enclosed ecosystem healthy for decades. "Captain, I have been analyzing the sensor data from Proxima," she said. "Something is very strange about this stellar collapse." "Strange how?" Hansol asked. Yujin activated her datapad, showing complex energy patterns. Natural supernovas follow predictable patterns. This one does not. The energy signatures suggest external manipulation. The bridge fell silent. External manipulation meant only one thing. Someone or something had caused this. "Are you saying this is artificial?" Dongwook asked. "I believe so. These readings match theoretical models of forced stellar collapse. Someone is making this star explode." Hansol felt a chill run down his spine. The galaxy was full of ancient mysteries and dead civilizations. They had always assumed these species died from natural causes or wars among themselves. But what if something else had killed them? "We need to leave immediately," he decided. "Mira, how long to prepare the quantum drive?" 6 hours minimum, maybe 8 if we want to do it safely. "You have 4 hours. Dongwook, calculate our best escape vector. Yujin, gather all data about this stellar manipulation. We need to understand what we are dealing with." The next 4 hours passed like a nightmare. Every section of the ship worked frantically to prepare for quantum jump. Engineers rerouted power from non-essential systems. Families secured their belongings and prepared for the violent acceleration that would follow. Mira and her team worked without rest to prepare the quantum drive. The device had been built as a last resort, using technology barely understood by human science. It could bend space itself, allowing faster-than-light travel. But the energy requirements were massive, and the risks were unknown. "Drive ready, Captain," Mira reported from the engine room. "All power systems are stable for now." Han Solo looked around the bridge at his crew. These people had trusted him with their lives and the lives of their families. Now he was about to risk everything on an untested technology. "All hands prepare for quantum jump," he announced over the ship's communication system. "Secure all stations and brace for acceleration." Throughout the ship, 50,000 people strapped themselves into safety harnesses. Children cried as their parents held them close. Elderly passengers whispered prayers to gods both old and new. "Initiating quantum drive in 10 seconds, Mira announced. Han Solo gripped his chair as the countdown began. Through the viewing screen he could see Proxima Centauri glowing with unnatural brightness. Soon it would explode with the force of 1 billion nuclear weapons. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. The universe seemed to tear apart around them. Reality twisted and bent as the quantum drive ripped a hole in space itself. The eternal dawn leaped forward at impossible speed, racing away from the doomed star system. Behind them, Proxima Centauri collapsed into itself, then exploded outward in a burst of deadly radiation. The shockwave expanded at the speed of light, turning everything in its path to ash. But the eternal dawn was gone, hurtling through folded space toward the outer rim of the galaxy. They had escaped the immediate danger, but at a terrible cost. The quantum jump had damaged critical systems throughout the ship. Worse, they were now lost in a region of space they had never explored. As the emergency lights flickered on the bridge, Han Solo realized their real journey was just beginning. They had survived the supernova, but now they faced something far more dangerous. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, an intelligence was destroying entire solar systems, and humanity was next on its list. 6 months had passed since the eternal dawn escaped the supernova. The ship drifted through the outer rim of the galaxy, far from any star system. Captain Han Solo walked through the damaged corridors, checking on repair work that seemed to never end. The quantum jump had saved their lives but broken many things. Power flickered in some sections. Food production was down by 30%. Worst of all, their main communication array was badly damaged. They were alone in the dark, unable to call for help. Communications Officer Tae Young worked day and night to fix the damaged systems. She was young, only 25, but she understood technology better than most people twice her age. Her small workspace was filled with broken equipment and spare parts. "Any progress?" Han Solo asked as he entered her workshop. Tae Young looked up from a circuit board she was repairing. Dark circles under her eyes showed how little sleep she had gotten lately. "I managed to boost our receiving power by 15%. We still cannot send messages very far, but we can listen better. That is something, at least. Captain, there is more. I have been picking up strange signals for the past 3 days. Very weak, but definitely artificial." Han Solo felt his heart race. Artificial signals meant other survivors. After 6 months of silence, the thought of contact with other beings felt like a miracle. "What kind of signals?" "Multiple sources, all moving in the same general direction. The patterns suggest distress calls, but I cannot understand the language. They are not human." Chief Security Officer Jae Min entered the workshop, carrying his daily security report. He was a large man with careful eyes who had kept order on the ship through the worst of times. "Captain, we need to talk about these signals," Jae Min said. "If there are aliens out there, we need protocols for first contact. My security teams are not prepared for this." Han Solo nodded. They had always known they might meet alien life someday, but theoretical preparation was different from reality. "What do you recommend?" "Maximum caution. We should observe them first before making contact. We do not know if they are friendly or hostile." Tae Young manipulated her equipment and the workshop filled with strange sounds. The signals were unlike anything they had ever heard. Multiple voices speaking in languages that had no human equivalent. But beneath the alien words, Han Solo could hear something familiar. Fear. Desperation. Loss. They sound like refugees, he said quietly. That is what I think too, Tae-young agreed. And Captain, the direction they are traveling, they are moving away from the galactic core, just like us. Over the next week, the signals grew stronger. Long-range sensors detected multiple large objects moving through space. The shapes were unlike any human design, but they were clearly artificial vessels. Navigator. Dong-wook spent hours studying the sensor data. Captain, I count at least 40 ships in their convoy. Some are enormous, possibly larger than our own vessel. They are moving slowly like they are carrying many passengers. Dr. Yujin joined the bridge meetings more often now. As their expert on life forms, her opinion would be crucial for first contact. From what I can determine from the signals, we are dealing with at least 3 different species. Their communication patterns suggest they are working together, not fighting. Hansol made his decision. We will approach them, but carefully. Jamin, have your security teams ready. Tae-young, prepare our translation systems. We are going to make contact. The Eternal Dawn changed course toward the alien convoy. As they got closer, the ships ahead of them became visible on the main screen. Hansol had never seen anything like them. The largest vessel was shaped like a twisted spiral, its surface covered in crystalline structures that glowed with soft blue light. Another ship looked like a giant flower made of metal, its petals opening and closing as it moved through space. A third resembled a massive tree, with branch-like extensions reaching out in all directions. Beautiful, whispered Mira, who had joined them on the bridge. And alien, added Jamin, his hand resting on his weapon. Tae-young worked frantically with her communication equipment. I am getting much clearer signals now. The translation computer is starting to pick up patterns. Give me a few more minutes. Those minutes felt like hours. The alien convoy had noticed their approach and was responding. Several smaller ships broke away from the main group and moved toward the Eternal Dawn. Captain, we are being scanned, reported Dong-wook. Their sensors are very advanced. They probably know everything about our ship by now. Are they targeting weapons at us? Jamin asked. I do not detect any hostile intent. They seem curious, not aggressive. Suddenly, Tae-young's equipment crackled to life. A voice spoke in heavily accented but understandable human language. Unknown vessel, we greet you in peace. We are refugees from the burning stars. Are you also fleeing the darkness? Hansol stepped forward. This was the moment that would determine humanity's future among the stars. This is Captain Hansol of the human vessel Eternal Dawn. We are indeed refugees. Our star was destroyed 6 months ago. A long pause followed. Then the alien voice returned, filled with what sounded like relief. You have survived the star killers, this is good. We are the Valari, guardians of the crystal worlds. Or we were, until our son was murdered. We have been traveling for 2 years searching for others who escaped. Star killers? Hansol asked. The beings who harvest stellar energy. They have been destroying suns across the galaxy for thousands of years. We thought we were the only survivors until we detected your ship. Dr. Yujin moved closer to the communication station. How many species have you encountered? In our convoy, we carry the last members of 7 different civilizations. All of us lost our home worlds to the star killers. All of us seek a way to stop them before every star in the galaxy dies. The bridge fell silent as the meaning became clear. This was not just about humanity's survival anymore. An entire galaxy was dying, and they were among the last survivors. We would like to meet in person, Hansol said finally. Perhaps together we can find a solution. Yes, we will prepare a meeting space on our flagship. But be warned, human, Captain. What we have learned about the Star Killers will disturb you greatly. The galaxy has little time left. As the alien ships moved to create a docking formation, Hansol realized that humanity's greatest test was just beginning. They had survived a supernova, but now they faced something far worse. An enemy that could kill stars was planning something that would end everything. But for the first time in months, Hansol felt hope. They were no longer alone. The meeting with the Valari changed everything. Captain Hansol stood in the alien flagship's main chamber, surrounded by beings he could barely understand. The Valari leader, called Ashkeeper in the translation, looked like a walking crystal tree. Its voice rang like wind chimes when it spoke. "We have traveled far together, the survivors," Ashkeeper said, "but we have found something that will interest you greatly. A place where many civilizations died, a graveyard of worlds." Hansol listened carefully. Beside him stood Dr. Yu Jin and archaeologist Jin Ho. Jin Ho was an expert on ancient cultures and dead civilizations. His knowledge might be crucial for understanding what they would find. "How far is this graveyard?" Hansol asked. 3 weeks' travel at our current speed. But we must be very careful. The Star Killers still hunt there. Their machines continue to work among the dead suns. The combined fleet of human and alien ships changed course toward this mysterious graveyard. During the long journey, Jinho worked with alien scholars to learn what they might expect. The stories they told were frightening. Captain, Jinho, reported after several days of study. According to Valari records, this region once contained over 1,000 star systems. Each one supported advanced civilizations. Now there are only dead planets orbiting cold, dark suns. Pilot Sujin spent her time training with alien pilots, learning how to fly safely in the dangerous region ahead. She was the best pilot on the Eternal Dawn, young and fearless. Her skills would be needed for the scouting missions to come. "The alien pilots have taught me about the harvesting machines," she told Hansol. "They are huge, the size of small moons. They strip energy from dead stars and send it somewhere else. But they also attack any ship that gets too close." When they finally reached the graveyard, the sight took Hansol's breath away. Thousands of dead stars floated in space like cold black stones. Around them orbited the remains of planets, their surfaces frozen and lifeless. But most disturbing were the machines. The harvesting machines were exactly as Sujin had described. They looked like giant metal spiders wrapped around dead stars, slowly draining the last energy from their cores. Streams of power flowed from the machines toward the center of the galaxy, feeding something enormous and hidden. "We need to explore some of these dead worlds," Jinho said as they watched the terrible sight. "If we can understand how these civilizations fought the Star Killers, maybe we can learn from their mistakes." Hansol agreed, but the mission would be dangerous. The harvesting machines had smaller versions that patrolled the dead systems. These scout machines would attack anything that moved. "I will take a small team to the nearest planet," Sujin volunteered. "My ship is fast enough to avoid the patrol machines." "Too dangerous," Security Chief Jamin objected. "We should send a full military escort." "A large group would be noticed," Sujin argued. "One small ship can hide among the debris. I can get in and out before the machines know we are there." After much discussion, Hansol approved the mission. Sujin would take Jinho and 2 alien specialists to explore a dead world that sensors showed had once been home to a great civilization. The scouting mission launched at dawn. Ship time. Hansol watched from the bridge as Sujin's small craft disappeared among the floating debris of a dead solar system. Hours passed with only brief radio messages confirming their safety. Finally, Sujin's voice crackled over the communication system. "Captain, you need to see this. We found something incredible." When the scouting team returned, Jinho was carrying data storage devices unlike anything they had seen before. His hands shook with excitement as he presented his findings to the gathered leaders. "The civilization on that planet called themselves the Eternal Vigil," he explained. "They knew about the Star Killers for centuries before their sun died. They prepared for the attack and left detailed records of everything they learned." Dr. Yujin studied the alien data with her translation equipment. "According to these records, the Star Killers are not just destroying civilizations. They are harvesting stellar energy for a specific purpose." "What purpose?" Hansol asked. "They are building something at the center of the galaxy, something enormous. The records call it the Gateway of Whispers." Cultural historian Kyung Min had joined the research team. She specialized in understanding how different species thought and behaved. Her insights were proving valuable in interpreting the alien records. "Captain, these records suggest the Star Killers are not the real threat," Kyung-min said carefully. They are servants of something else, something that lives outside our galaxy, in the spaces between realities. The room fell silent. The idea of beings from outside reality was almost too strange to understand. The Eternal Vigil believed that the Gateway of Whispers is meant to allow these outside beings to enter our galaxy, Kyung-min continued. Once they arrive, they will consume everything. Not just worlds or stars, but space itself. Ashkeeper made a sound like breaking glass. In Valari culture, this meant deep fear. We suspected this, but hoped we were wrong. If these records are correct, destroying individual harvesting machines will not save us. We must stop the gateway before it opens. Han Sol felt the weight of impossible responsibility. How long do we have? Jin Ho consulted the alien records. According to the Eternal Vigil's calculations, the gateway requires the energy of 10,000 dead stars. The Star Killers have been working for millennia, but they still need more power. How much more? Perhaps 50 years, maybe less if they increase their harvesting speed. The leaders of the survivor fleet spent days studying the records and planning their response. Most alien species wanted to flee to neighboring galaxies, hoping to escape before the gateway opened. But Han Sol had a different idea. We cannot run forever, he told the assembled council. These beings destroyed our galaxy. What makes us think they will stop there? If we do not fight them here, we will only delay the inevitable. You speak of fighting beings that can kill stars, Ashkeeper replied. How can we possibly win? Han Sol looked around the room at the representatives of 7 different species. Each one had lost their home world to the Star Killers. Each one carried the grief of billions of dead. The Eternal Vigil fought alone and lost, he said. But we are not alone. We have the knowledge of multiple civilizations and the determination of survivors. Maybe that will be enough. As the council debated their next move, Su Jin and her pilot teams continued their dangerous missions to dead worlds. Each expedition brought back more knowledge about the Star Killers and their mysterious masters, but they also brought back something else. Evidence that the gateway was nearly complete, and time was running out faster than anyone had imagined. The survivor fleet floated in space around a dying red giant star. Inside the council chambers of the Valari flagship, the greatest debate in galactic history was taking place. Representatives from 7 species argued about their future while time ran out. We must leave this galaxy immediately, declared the Keth representative, a being that looked like living metal. The gateway will open soon. Our only hope is to reach the Andromeda galaxy before the Whisper beings arrive. Ashkeeper's crystal body rang with disagreement. The journey to Andromeda will take centuries. Most of our people will die during the crossing. And what if the Whisper beings follow us there? Captain Han Sol listened to the arguments with growing frustration. For 3 days, the alien leaders had debated escape plans while the Star Killers continued their work. Every hour of delay meant more dead stars feeding the gateway. There is another option, Han Sol said, standing up from his seat. The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to the human captain. He was the youngest leader in the council, representing the newest species to join their alliance. But something in his voice made everyone listen. We attack the gateway directly, he continued. Destroy it before it can open. The reaction was immediate. Several alien representatives made sounds of disbelief. The Valari concept of impossible situations translated to something like wind through broken glass. Attack the galactic core? The Keth representative asked. The gateway is surrounded by thousands of harvesting machines. The Star Killers will destroy us before we get within a light year of the target. Probably, Han Sol agreed. But if we do nothing, we all die anyway. At least this way we have a chance to save the galaxy. When the council session ended, most alien species began preparing their ships for the long journey to Andromeda. Only the Valari remained to hear Han Sol's full plan. Back aboard the Eternal Dawn, Han Sol gathered his senior officers. Tactical. Officer Minsu had been working on battle strategies for weeks. She was a former military planner who understood warfare better than anyone else on the ship. Show them what you have developed, Han Sol told her. Minsu activated the holographic display, showing a three-dimensional map of the galactic core. Red dots marked harvesting machines and automated defenses. At the center, a massive structure, pulsed with stolen stellar energy. The gateway is heavily protected, Minsu explained. Direct assault is impossible, but humans have always been good at finding unconventional solutions. She manipulated the display, showing attack patterns and movement routes. We cannot fight the Star Killers in open battle. They are too powerful. But we can use guerrilla tactics, strike fast, disappear, strike again. Engineer Bo Young had been studying the technical aspects of the gateway. She was brilliant with energy systems and had spent years maintaining the Eternal Dawn's quantum drive. I have been analyzing the power flows from the harvesting machines, Bo Young said. The gateway requires precise energy input to maintain stability. If we can disrupt the power flow at the right moment, the gateway will collapse. Science Officer Yoon Seo joined the briefing with her calculations. She was quiet and methodical, the kind of person who could find patterns in chaos. The gateway draws power from harvesting machines across the galaxy, Yoon Seo explained. But there are key nodes, machines that regulate the energy flow. If we destroy enough of these nodes, simultaneously the gateway will overload. Han Sol studied the tactical display. The plan was complex and dangerous. They would need to coordinate attacks across multiple star systems while avoiding the main star killer forces. How many ships would we need? He asked. At least 50, Minsu replied. Each team would target a different node. We would have to attack all at once, then retreat before reinforcements arrive. And if the plan works, what happens to the gateway? Bo Young's expression was grim. The energy feedback will be enormous. The explosion will destroy everything within 10 light years of the galactic core, including us, if we are still there. The room fell quiet. They were discussing a suicide mission to save a galaxy that might not even remember their sacrifice. There is more, Yoon Seo added softly. My calculations suggest the gateway's destruction will release enough energy to reignite dead stars throughout the galaxy. The stellar nurseries will begin forming new suns. Engineer Young Ho spoke up from the back of the room. Someone will need to manually trigger the overload from inside the gateway structure. The automated systems won't be enough. Everyone understood what that meant. Someone would have to stay behind to ensure the plan worked. Over the following weeks, Captain Han Sol worked to convince the fleeing alien species to join the attack. Most refused, but a few agreed to help. The Valari committed their entire remaining fleet. A small group of Keth warriors chose honor over escape. Even some species they had never met before sent ships to join the desperate mission. Communications Officer Dayun spent her time preparing a special message. If they failed, she wanted the galaxy to know that someone had tried to save it. I am recording everything, she told Han Sol. Our history, our reasons for fighting, the names of everyone who volunteered. If we die, at least the story will survive. The combined fleet began the long journey toward the galactic core. As they traveled deeper into dangerous space, the attacks by Star Killer patrols became more frequent, but each battle taught them more about their enemies' weaknesses. Pilot Sujin led reconnaissance missions that mapped the defenses around key targets. Her daring flights through asteroid fields and past harvesting machines provided crucial intelligence for the coming battle. The gateway is even bigger than we thought, she reported after her latest mission. It looks like a wound in space itself. I could see stars being born and dying inside it, like it's connected to somewhere else entirely. As they approached the final staging area for their attack, Han Sol called together all the ship captains for a final briefing. Humans and aliens sat side by side, united by their shared determination to fight the impossible. We all know this is likely a one-way mission, Han Sol began. Most of us will not survive what comes next. But if we succeed, new stars will light the darkness for millions of years. Future civilizations will grow up under suns we helped create. Ashkeeper's crystal voice rang with resolve. The Valari have guarded worlds for 10,000 years. Today, we guard the entire galaxy. The Keith commander made a sound like metal striking metal, their version of a battle cry. Death before dishonor. Victory over darkness. As the fleet prepared for the final assault, Han Solo looked out at the twisted space around the galactic core. The gateway loomed ahead like a hungry mouth, waiting to devour reality itself. But they were no longer running. For the first time, since the Starkillers began their harvest, someone was fighting back. The final battle began in the twisted space around the galactic core. Captain Han Solo watched from the bridge of the Eternal Dawn as reality itself seemed to bend and break around them. The gateway of whispers loomed ahead like a wound in the universe, showing glimpses of hungry darkness beyond. "All ships report ready for attack," Communications Officer Daun announced. Her voice was steady despite the fear in her eyes. She had been broadcasting humanity's story across the galaxy, ensuring their sacrifice would not be forgotten. 57 ships from 8 different species formed the assault fleet. It was pitifully small compared to the thousands of harvesting machines that surrounded the gateway, but it was all they had. "Begin the attack," Han Solo ordered. The fleet split into multiple groups, each targeting a different power node around the gateway. Pilot Su-jin led the most dangerous mission, flying directly through the gateway's outer defenses to reach the core systems. The Star Killer machines responded immediately. Massive harvesting devices turned away from their work to face the attackers. Weapons that could destroy planets fired streams of energy across space. Node 7 destroyed, reported a Valari ship captain. "Node 12 under attack," called a Keth commander. One by one, the power nodes exploded in brilliant flashes of light. But the cost was terrible. For every node destroyed, 2 or 3 ships were lost to the Starkiller defenses. Engineer Bo Young worked frantically at her station, monitoring the gateway's power levels. "Captain, the energy flow is becoming unstable. We need to destroy 3 more nodes to trigger a cascade failure." On the main screen, Han Solo watched Su-jin's small fighter weave between massive machines that fired at her with weapons designed to kill starships. Her piloting skills were the only thing keeping her alive. "Su-jin, report your status," Han Solo called over the communication system. "Still breathing, Captain," came her reply. "Approaching Node 15 now. This is going to be close." Her ship disappeared behind a harvesting machine the size of a moon. Moments later, another explosion lit up the darkness as Node 15 was destroyed. 2 more nodes to go, Bo Young announced. But the Starkillers were adapting to their tactics. The remaining harvesting machines moved to protect the final power nodes. The path to victory was now blocked by an almost solid wall of enemy defenses. "Captain," Tactical Officer Min-Su said quietly, "we have lost 31 ships. The remaining vessels do not have enough firepower to reach the final nodes." Han Solo studied the tactical display. The mathematics were clear. They had come so far, sacrificed so much, but they were going to fail. The gateway would remain intact, and the Whisper beings would enter their galaxy. Then Engineer Young Ho spoke, up from his station. "Captain, there is another way. If someone can manually overload the gateway's power core from inside, it will trigger the same cascade failure." "Inside the gateway? That is suicide." "Yes, sir. But it will save the galaxy." Han Solo looked around the bridge at his crew. These people had followed him across impossible distances and through unimaginable dangers. Now he was asking them to die for beings they would never meet. "I will go," he decided. "No," Young Ho said firmly. "You are needed to command the fleet. I understand the gateway systems better than anyone. It should be me." Before Han Solo could argue, Daun's voice filled the bridge. "Captain, I am detecting something new. The gateway is starting to open. Energy readings are off all charts." Through the viewing screen, they could see the gateway beginning to tear reality apart. Dark shapes moved in the space beyond, things that should not exist in any universe. The Whisper beings were trying to force their way through before the gateway was fully powered. "We are out of time," Han Solo realized. "Young Ho, take a shuttle and get to that power core. The rest of us will cover your approach." Young Ho nodded and headed for the shuttle bay. As he prepared to leave, he turned back to Han Solo. Captain, it has been an honor serving with you. The honor was mine, Han Solo replied. The final assault began as Young Ho's shuttle raced toward the gateway. Every remaining ship in the fleet threw themselves at the Starkiller defenses, sacrificing everything to clear a path for one small craft. Su Jin's fighter provided escort, her incredible piloting skills keeping the larger machines from targeting the shuttle. Almost there, Young Ho. 30 seconds to the gateway entrance. Confirmed. Beginning manual override procedures now. Han Solo watched the shuttle disappear into the gateway structure. Around them, the last ships of the fleet fought desperately against impossible odds. The Valari flagship exploded in a burst of crystal fragments. The final Keth destroyer rammed itself into a harvesting machine, taking both vessels down. Young Ho, what is your status? Han Solo called. Power core located. Beginning overload sequence. This will take 2 minutes. 2 minutes might as well be 2 hours. The Starkillers were closing in from all sides, and the Eternal Dawn was the largest target left. Energy beams struck their hull, causing explosions throughout the ship. Hull breach on decks 15 through 20, reported damage control. Life support failing in multiple sections. Dr. Yujin's voice came over the communication system from the medical bay. All non-essential personnel to emergency shelters. This is not a drill. Daun continued her broadcast, telling the galaxy what was happening. The gateway is destabilizing. Young Ho has reached the power core. If anyone receives this message, remember that we chose to fight. Remember that we did not surrender. Overload sequence complete, Young Ho announced. Core will explode in 30 seconds. It has been an honor serving with all of you. The gateway began to collapse as massive amounts of energy feed back through the power network. Harvesting machines throughout the galaxy suddenly stopped working as their connection to the core was severed. All ships retreat immediately, Han Solo ordered. Maximum speed away from the gateway. But it was too late for most of them. The gateway's destruction released energy equivalent to 1,000 supernovas. The explosion expanded outward at the speed of light, vaporizing everything in its path. The Eternal Dawn, already damaged by the battle, could not escape in time. As the energy wave approached, Han Solo looked around the bridge one last time at the crew who had become his family. We did it, he said quietly. We saved the galaxy. The explosion consumed the galactic core, but its effects spread much further. The released energy reignited dead stars throughout the galaxy. Stellar nurseries began forming new suns from the cosmic debris. The darkness that had spread for millennia was finally pushed back by new light. Centuries passed. New civilizations arose around the reborn stars. As each species achieved spaceflight, they discovered the same story written in the quantum fluctuations of space itself. The tale of the humans who survived a supernova and chose to sacrifice everything so others could live. They found Daun's final broadcast, preserved in the cosmic background radiation. Her words became a legend told across the galaxy. Remember that we chose to fight. Remember that we did not surrender. The galaxy remembered. Every new species that reached for the stars learned about the great sacrifice. They built monuments to honor the unknown heroes who died to give them life. They named the brightest star in each system Han Solo's light, in memory of the captain who led the final battle. And in the deepest archives of every advanced civilization, scholars preserved the complete record of humanity's journey. From the refugees who fled a dying Earth, to the survivors of a supernova, to the heroes who saved an entire galaxy. The humans were gone, but their legacy burned bright in every star. They had achieved something no other species had ever managed. They had turned certain extinction into eternal life, not just for themselves, but for all the children of the galaxy who would grow up under the light of the suns they died to create. The darkness had been defeated. The galaxy lived. And somewhere, in the quantum foam of space-time, the story of human courage continued to echo through eternity.